Hi guys, welcome to today's video. I am going to do a retrospective of the entire Atelier Ryza Trilogy. That means Atelier Ryza 1, Atelier Ryza 2, and Atelier Ryza 3 all in one video. With its multiple installments, the Atelier Ryza Trilogy has really captured my heart, and it's the trilogy that got me into the Atelier series. So I feel very passionate about this. So all aboard, let's explore the Atelier Ryza Trilogy. Let's get into the video. Starting from the humble beginnings of Atelier Ryza to the expanded horizons of Atelier Ryza 2, and then the finale, Atelier Ryza 3, this series has enchanted players with its unique blend of alchemy, exploration, and deep character relationships. At its core, the Atelier Ryza series exemplifies the power of dreams and the pursuit of knowledge. Our young protagonist Ryza sets out on an extraordinary journey of self-discovery, uncovering the secrets of her world, and unraveling the mysteries of ancient ruins. As we explore the enchanting landscapes of Kirkin Island and the mystical ruins of Ashamai-Brard, sorry if I mispronounced that, and the mysterious Kark Islands, we witness the growth of Ryza as an alchemist and the blooming friendships that shape her destiny. We delve into the intricacies of the alchemical arts, crafting powerful items and uncovering hidden recipes that unlock new possibilities for our inspired heroes. And through it all, we are immersed in a world that brims with beauty, from the lush fields and tranquil shores to the awe-inspiring vistas that ignite our sense of wonder. But beyond the gameplay mechanics and stunning visuals lies the beating heart of the Atelier Ryza series. It emphasizes the friendship, personal growth, and the pursuit of dreams, and while it all might seem corny like some shonen anime, it reminds us of the power of genuine connections, the strength found in unity, and the importance of nurturing our passions. Through the trials and triumphs of Ryza and her companions, explore the world with wide-eyed curiosity and forge unbreakable bonds with those who share our journey. In this video, we are going to take a look at many of these aspects and how it creates a wonderful mix of joy and coziness that makes the Ryza series what it is today, and what quite honestly put the Atelier series on the map for a lot of people, including myself. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. When I say Ryza 1, Ryza 2, please know that the titles are very long. That's why I don't say the whole thing. But Ryza 1 is called Atelier Ryza Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout. Ryza 2 is called Atelier Ryza Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy, and Atelier Ryza 3 is called Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and Secret Key. So obviously I'm not gonna say the whole name all the time, but just know that when I say Ryza 1, the first game, Ryza 2 is the second, and Ryza 3 is the third. Anyways, back to the video. So I hope you have a tasty snack and something to drink, because I will do my best to explain my love for this trilogy. So sit back and enjoy. As you are probably aware, the Ryza Trilogy, also known as the Secret Trilogy, is a video game series developed by Gus and published by Koei Tecmo. However, the origin of this game may not be so common knowledge. The producer Junso Hosoi came up with the idea of the Atelier Trilogy while developing the fourth game in the Arlen series. Now, if you guys are not familiar with how the Atelier series works, I have a video for that called Intro to Atelier, where it explains the games and how they're organized in these series. So if you're confused about that, check out my Intro to Atelier, because it's a long-running series with a lot of great games. But anyways, the Arlen Trilogy is one of the first modern Atelier games, so it was pretty early on that he had this concept of Ryza. While developing the fourth game in the Arlen series, Atelier Lulua, during the development of Lulua, Ryza 1 was also created. Hosoi envisioned a coming-of-age story. He wanted the main character to experience significant personal growth throughout their adventures, while also giving side characters some story elements, without the whole individual ending or multiple endings that you see a lot in modern RPGs, which, don't get me wrong, I do love those, but you know, not every game needs to be the same. And also, some Atelier games actually went with the whole individual endings, but this one, they wanted it to be more personal. Through careful crafting, Ryza was born as a lovely, bubbling alchemist, similar to Lulua, but not as similar or headstrong. Her curiosity drives her very journey journeys, and the other characters who accompany her. I can relate to that. And to this day, for me, Ryza has to be the most relatable Atelier character. I mean, my favorite is Sophie, but Ryza is a good second. And the other characters who accompany her are not just her friends, but also integral to her growth. This is a unique feature in the series, as not many Atelier games continue with the same main characters. For clarification, Atelier games mostly focus on one character a game, and even if the games are set in the same universe, it usually changes the main character each game. But Ryza is different because they kept Ryza as the main character for all 3 games. As in previous Atelier games, don't do that. I really wonder why. Let me just say, I think Koei Tecmo saw the positive reviews for this game and was like, yeah, we should try that more. So it's really weird to follow the same protagonist in each game, but with the success of Ryza due to marketing of certain stuff, a lot of people liked her. So right off the bat, the design is not revealing, especially for a main character. There are side characters that have questionable attire. Lila, I'm looking at you, what are you wearing? But with Ryza, it was just because she was wearing shorts because it's the summer. The key features I believe they wanted to hone in are the following: character-centric storytelling, streamlined gameplay and accessibility, and a heavy focus on an engaging cast of characters having the same drive to explore and adventure. By combining these elements, Gus sought to breathe new life into the Atelier franchise, attracting a wider audience while maintaining its core essence that fans have come to love. The character design for Ryza was fixed on getting her thighs just about right, and some Gus developers agreed with this notion. Hence the saying, thick thighs saves this franchise, because a lot of people got interested in the Atelier series when they saw the character design and promotions. I'm not gonna pretend that that didn't work, because it did work. Fans still appreciate this detail today for their own reasons that I won't get into for obvious reasons. So, Atelier Ryza Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout came out in 2019. Sorry, Xbox fans. Atelier Ryza 2 Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy came out December 3rd of 2020 for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and Secret Key came out March 22nd, 2023. So it's a recent game. It's on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Microsoft Windows. Regardless though, let's focus on the main character and the adventure she embarks on. So chapter 2 contains the story portions of all 3 games, so there's going to be some spoilers into this. If you want to ask me more about the game but you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to contact me and I can tell you all about the games. Trust me, I like talking about this game. So sorry I'm putting spoilers into this. That's just mainly because it's a retrospective and I just want to talk about the series without feeling like I have to not say stuff. So if you don't want to be spoiled, and I completely understand, because these games are very fun and you want to go play them, and then you could come back to this video. So first we are going to be looking at each game, starting with Ryza 1, 2, and then 3. So our journey begins with Atelier Ryza Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout. We are quickly introduced to Ryza and her friends, and we witness her humble beginnings as she embarks on a quest for knowledge and self-discovery, and a little bit of boredom too. She lives in a farmhouse and she's set to inherit the farm, but she doesn't want to do any of that. So that kind of sparks her interest in exploring and going on adventures and the pursuit of her dreams. Now, Kirkin Island is Ryza's beloved hometown, and it serves as the foundation for her initial steps into the world of alchemy. Fueled by her curiosity about the world around her, she uses that energy to find any opportunity for an adventure. One day, her and her friends sneak into the mainland by boat, and now is a good time to go over her friends in the first game. First we have Lent. He is a big guy, he wants to be a soldier, things like that. And then Tao, who is the more reserved one, but he is very smart, and throughout the series he grows so much. And while on her escapade to the mainland, they also meet and befriend Claudia, who is a merchant's daughter. She comes for money too. Now these characters right here are the main focus in the trilogy. There's gonna be more characters coming in and out, but the 4 core characters characters are very important, and all of her friends go through character development of their own. Alright, back to the story though. Guided by these two characters, Empel and Lila. Now Empel is the enigmatic outsider, and he also mentors Ryza with their alchemy. And he actually introduced Ryza to alchemy, so she has a lot of respect for him. And Lila is Empel's friend who travels with him. She is very strong, so she's kind of a bodyguard too. And upon meeting these two, Ryza's world expanded beyond her wildest dreams. With their guidance, she delved into the intricacies of the synthesis, uncovering the hidden potential of alchemy and igniting her passion for the craft, using these crafts to help the folks in Kirkin Island. Much to her mother's dismay, who really loves Ryza, but she's kind of like those moms who are like saying, oh, get a real job kind of vibe. But ultimately, her mom would rather her focus on her chores than this alchemy business, which is weird because you can make a good coin with alchemy, just saying. As the trio improve and restore the abandoned cottage in the forest, that becomes Ryza's new hideout, and it is so cute, and it's her base of operation, like a secret area that only her and her friends know. I just thought that was a neat thing because in the first game they're pretty young, and having a secret hideout is very clutch. And then Claudia officially joins the party because they earned her father's approval. Claudia's father was really worried, so we had to go through a bunch of tests to say, hey, yeah, we're not gonna blow up your daughter or something. So Claudia officially joins the party after earning her father's approval. As Ryza hones her alchemical skills, she has not only formed deep connections with the inhabitants of Kirkin Island, but with their friends as well. These friendships become the pillar of support that propel her to reach her dreams. The first game has a very laid-back approach in both story and gameplay. However, as the characters progress through their journey, we become absorbed in their many little plot lines. That is until the plot starts to pick up. I feel like Atelier games are best when they're more grounded in the characters, but there has to be a plot, so I can't complain. But because of the no time limit like past Atelier games, the stakes in this game feel really low, even if the world is in danger. As Ryza delves deeper into alchemy and explores the surrounding islands, she faces various challenges and mysteries. At one point, the game introduces alternate realms and ancient civilizations. This is where the story starts to pick up a bit. Now, I'll try to explain this as clearly as I can. Alrighty, we good? Let's roll. After Ryza approves her alchemy skills, her childhood friend Boss falsely accuses Empel and Lila of being behind the strange events that's been happening on the island. And Boss's aristocratic father, who also is the mayor of the island, supports him in this scheme. And he has his own reasons for wanting to banish them as well. However, Ryza and her gangs proved them innocent. I mean, it wasn't really a crime. They didn't do anything. They just showed up. However, Ryza was there to prove their innocence. And it's so funny because Boss flees in embarrassment. It's pretty catharsis because Boss is the big bully of the island for many years. So having him run with his tail between his legs, satisfying. But Boss does get a huge character development throughout the trilogy that we'll talk about later. Now, the whole matter leads to the gang at the gate that leads to the alternate realm called the Underworld. Now, this Underworld is not like hell or anything. It is home to the local Oran race, which Lila is a part of. You could kind of see it in her character design, so it wasn't really much of a surprise. Now, the story of the Oran race goes like this. They are fighting a losing war against a horde of insectoid monsters known as the Felocia, and this is a common enemy you will be seeing throughout the series. And defeating them is Empel and Lila's true goal. Also to seal away the gates to prevent these insects from entering the real world. And seeing as Empel and Lila were so crucial to Ryza's growth and journey, not only inside but in alchemy, it also becomes Ryza's goal as well as the game progresses into later entries. Later, it is also revealed by Kilo that during the war, the local water supply was stolen centuries ago by the ancient Clint Kingdom, and that in turn allowed the Felocia to ravage the land unchallenged, with Empel and Lila traveling together to seal all gates to stop them from attacking other realms. Boss realizes that the water source is in his father's possession. Ashamed by his family's mistakes, Boss reforms and decides to help the party. Now, I'm gonna do a bit of hand waving over here because some of it doesn't really make sense or anything like that. It's nothing important, and this video is probably gonna be long enough. But the main point after everything is that the gate of the underworld has been closed and the water source has been retrieved. As for the Clint Kingdom, it has been destroyed by the Pollutia, and the survivors took refuge in Kirkin Island, which means that everyone on the island who was born on the island are descendants from the Clint Kingdom. But that's not all. The Clint Kingdom was a kingdom full of alchemists, so when they escaped, they had an island made for themselves. So basically, Kirkin Island is a man-made island that needs to be maintained so it won't sink. And I actually didn't see that coming. That was a bit of a surprise. I just thought it was an island. And again, with the power of hand waving and saving a lot of time, the crew made the necessity repairs to the island to prevent it from sinking. And after destroying the Queen Felusa, her core was used to help the island, which is kind of wow. So essentially, they killed 2 ponies with 1 stone. They killed the Queen Felusa and saved their island. And Tao actually gets his moment to shine with all his knowledge. It is said that Tao's lineage comes from an ancient lineage that helped build the island. So it was pretty cool to see him in action. And with all that being done, they all have a great party to share their victory with the islanders and Ryza and her friends, having fun, sharing stories, and just overall enjoying themselves now that the world-threatening thing is over. But all things do come to an end. In a bit of a sad moment, all of our characters try to figure out what they want to do in their life. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But time to close the book on the first summer adventure with Ryza and her friends. Lent leaves to become a knight, Toe leaves with Boss to study at the capital, and Claudia continues to travel with her father to learn more about trading. While Ryza, much like myself, stays on her island to further hone her skills and to make preparations to one day start a journey of her own. So that's the end of the first game. It was a really good introduction. The story got kind of convoluted towards the end, but I really enjoyed it, especially our character interactions. I felt like this group of friends really had each other's back, do or die kind of vibe. And yeah, it was just a very heartwarming entry in the series, and it laid the foundation for Atelier Ryza 2 and 3. Overall, I loved it. And no worries, I'm going to talk about gameplay and other things like that in my next chapter. It's just this chapter is just story. This is where Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends, and the Secret Fairy come in, as the story takes place 3 years after the first game. While not only is Ryza the main alchemist of the island, but she is teaching others to do the craft as well. So she in turn is passing the torch, so to say. Or because Ryza just doesn't want to do all the work by herself, she is beginning to hit a roadblock in her studies, and she doesn't really know where to take her alchemy. Until, luck has it, she receives a letter from Tao, who is at the capital, telling her about these ruins that have a possible connection to alchemy, and being at the capital would improve her studies. Plus, during the occasion, Boss's father Mortiz gives her a mysterious stone. I don't know why this guy is finding so many mysterious stuff around his house, but okay. But he gives it to Ryza for research. Plot twist though, that ain't a stone. So of course, Ryza, being the adventure junkie that she is, she decides to hightail it to the royal capital. As soon as she arrives, Ryza is in awe on how big the capital is. Now every character got redesigns because they did grow up 3 years, and it's more evident with Tao. He got the major glow up, and yes, Ryza's thighs did get bigger. It is an ongoing joke that with each Ryza game, her thighs grow, and yeah, they got bigger. Also, Boss is no longer a turd, and while he does have a ways to go in his character journey, he is way more laid back in the second game, and not the bully or the big fish in the pond anymore. He's in the capital to study, so he could be a better mayor than his dad was on the island. And others return, like Lent, who is a full-fledged warrior, though he has a chip on his shoulder when you first meet him, and Claudia. I love Claudia so much, and she's running the traveling business, being the boss queen that she is, stay at home with her mom more often. And I love how Claudia is still so soft-spoken and nice, but when she gets down to business, she means business. Oh, and there's Patricia, but people call her Patty for short. She's kind of a tsundere, but she grows on you over time. So you guys all meet up at the capital, and and you start investigating the nearby ruins, a whole new adventure in the horizons. Soon after exploring one of the ruins, Ryza discovers that the stone given to her by Morquise is actually an egg, and it suddenly hatches. This adorable little creature is named Phi. The reason that it hatched is that it reached into something that was in the ruins that they explored, so her goal now is to figure out who is Phi and how is he or she connected to the ruins that surround the capital. But we also get new members like Patricia and the treasure hunter Clifford, and Siri, who is a member of the Orin clan. Speaking of Orin, both Empel and Lila join as well. Empel surmises that Phi is a creature from the underworld who relies on the mana for its means to survive. If it's not supplied to him in a timely manner, Phi will cease to exist. To prevent this, Ryza must go to each ruin and let Phi absorb the mana crystals within said ruins as a form of nourishment. But little did they know that the mana crystals act as a seal to protect the capital from whom, you may ask? Well, welcome back to Felucia. Lifting the seal unlocks a hidden temple that contains the gate to the underworld that houses stronger breeds of Felucia. The party then sets their sights again to the underworld and proceeds to repel them hastily till they reach the leader, the legendary monarch, and defeat it in the process. Though the world was saved once again, not all is happy. In a very touching moment, the crew then bids farewell to Phi, who passes through the gate before Empel seals it once again. Everyone goes their separate ways. Tao and Boss continue their studies. Lent continues his journey to become stronger. Claudia goes back to running her business like the boss queen she is. With all the matters solved, Ryza bids farewell to her friends and returns to Kirkin Island, knowing that they will see each other again for another summer adventure. My honest opinion is the second game, while not the best, it's actually my least favorite in the trilogy. I feel like it was a nice medium between the first one and the last one, and having the whole shift between Kirkin Island to a big city was very nice to see, but story-wise, I felt it was the weakest, and character-wise as well. While we do get updates from our main cast and how they're doing, the new characters didn't really seem to stick with me, unfortunately. But I did love the game through and through, and the whole emotional thing with Phi, I still don't know what that thing is, or if it's a he or she. I could feel that Ryza and Phi's relationship was the strongest and the most wholesomeness, and the ending where Phi had to go was really sad. And it really hones in the coming of age story where you don't know what you want to do in your life while navigating the fact that technically, yeah, you're an adult. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. Now on to Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. Now this is the final adventure with the Ryza gang, and this takes place about 1 year after the events of Ryza 2. Now this game takes you straight to the action. You are put into a battle to rescue the villagers from an unknown monster. And assisting Ryza is Tao and Boss, who have come back from the capital. Now these monsters originated from the chain of mysterious islands known as the Kark Islands. Not only is it a threat to the people of Kirkin Island, but it also interferes with the mechanism that keeps the island afloat. So yeah, this is a pretty big threat. I wonder if the Pelusia are involved. Those dang Pelusia. Spoiler alert, they are, but not as big. While Ryza was preparing some medicine, she suddenly hears a voice in her head that instructs her to synthesize a key. Confused about the request, she still decides to do it, not knowing its true purpose or its usage. Ryza, being the seasoned adventurer as she is, she senses the next adventure about to begin, and it will be bigger than her last. So Ryza sends an express letter to Claudia and Lent to come join in on exploring the Kark Islands. And lo and behold, they literally come the next day. That was fast, guys. My theory is that Claudia was already there and she was just waiting, and so was Lent. I'm just playing. And in this very nostalgic scene, we see the original crew, as they are now older, proceed to explore the Kark Islands. And this is where you realize how open world this game is. Now when I say open world, it's not a traditional open world, but it's very big compared to the first game and the second game. As they continue exploring, the gang finds a strange door where suddenly the same voices come back to Ryza. It tells her to look for a way to open the door in order to reach the code of the universe. Very ominous. And at this point in the story, nobody really knows what the code of the universe is, but the code of the universe is really important, so stick a pin on that. So this game has you traveling to different different regions as well. And in one of those regions, there's this place known for its very intricate glasswork. In this new region, she finds and befriends Frederica. Now, she has her own arc going on, but basically, she had to take the place of her father who recently passed away, and she's having a hard time establishing herself because she's so young at the moment. And there's these two guilds of glassworkers arguing with each other, and she has to be the voice of reason. So Ryza and the gang are not only exploring, they're also helping Frederica, and in turn Frederica becomes part of the crew. So after meeting new faces and solving a couple of guild disputes, Ryza manages to create a new key and returns to Kark Island. Ryza managed to open the door with said key, and inside were a bunch of texts about dragons. Oh yeah, there has been dragons in this game since like game 1, so it's not really a surprise. I just forgot to mention that. Knowing that Ample is doing research related to dragons, the gang travels to the Namen region, I probably mispronounced that, only to find out that both Ample and Lila have been imprisoned for wandering into forbidden territory near the village. Now the village that they're in is very old school in a way, and they don't take lightly to strangers just watching ruins. So yeah, we gotta break our fam out, so we do a few quests in the region, get to know the culture, and befriend another party member, Dion. Now the question is, how are you gonna break out Ample and Lila from jail? Well, it's easy. You gotta stabilize the economy in the region. No, I'm not joking. Because you see, the region is in troubling times and they rely on something called the Sea of Light. Fortunately, Ryza has the right materials to create it for them and uses it as leverage to release Ample and Lila. A little bit much. I would rather a jailbreak scenario chapter. That would have been cool and different, but it's Ryza. She has to help anybody in need. Oh, and on the way, they pick up Patty, who was there because Tao was slacking in his studies. I know, shocker, but he has a good reason because of the whole code of the universe thing. But yeah, Patty soon joins the party. So with party members new and old, they investigate the local ruins to find another underworld gate. During their search, they meet Kala. Now Kala is part of the Orient tribe, who explains that elder dragons create the gates by using their powers to travel between worlds. This means that Ample's mission to close all the gates is almost impossible, as the Pelusia creatures have been emerging from the gates and causing chaos. Those damn Pelusia. According to Kala, the universe code is a city that exists across different dimensions. It is inhabited by several alchemists who invade other worlds in the name of research. Their actions have caused the Pelusia infestation that has devastated the underworld and Ryza's world. The party, along with Kyla, embarks on a journey to find more information about the code of the universe. And do you hear that, guys? It's my hand waving, because eventually they return to the underworld and reunite with Kylo and Fi. I really don't know exactly how that happened, and I'm happy to see Ryza reunite with Fi. It just didn't make sense, but it was cute, so hand wave it off. Ryza finishes her research and then is ready to go to the code of the universe, but only to find that the city is deserted. Its inhabitants fled to other worlds, leaving behind a functioning machine that absorbs talented alchemists to gain their knowledge. So the big bad of this game is an AI. Never saw that coming. But this does open a door to a lot of things like multiple universes, crossovers. So I don't know where they're going with this whole code of the universe, but they could do a lot with it. The party destroys the machine and Ryza uses her key to permanently shut down the code of the universe, destroying Kark Islands in the process. Returning to Kirkin Island, Ryza taps into the dragon vein to ensure that the machinery keeping the island afloat never loses its power again. The party goes their separate ways, saying what appears to be a heartfelt goodbye. Kala has returned to the underworld to assist rebuilding it. Ample and Lila are on a new mission to inspect the gates they previously closed to ensure they were not affected by the code of the universe. Lent once again is traveling to be a knight. Toe has decided to pursue a career as a researcher at the Royal Academy and live at the capital, with Patty gladly tagging along. Boss is preparing to take over his family business and plans to marry Kylo in the future. Kylo was the character who saved Boss in the first game. I didn't really say that in the description, but yeah. Claudia has resumed her work as a merchant, and Ryza has embarked on a new journey solo. And that is the end of Atelier Ryza 3. Honestly, this one is my favorite of the trilogy. there was a whole host of characters you could play with, new and old, and the characters themselves are just even better. So the third game was a nice bow into this trilogy, and I just loved it so much, and I enjoyed it so much story-wise. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And that is pretty much the entire journey of Ryza. Alright, so Alchemy doesn't seem that hard to perform. Let me try something a little on my own. Let me put a dash of this, a splash of that. Bada bing, let me mix it a bit, and boom! Get the subscribe button. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like if you're enjoying the video so far. Now in this section, I'm going to talk about the alchemy and the mechanics between them. This is not going to be as long as chapter 2, so don't worry. So let's get into it. At the heart of the Atelier Ryza series, or let alone the whole entire Atelier series, lies the art of alchemy. Through intuitive gameplay mechanics, players immerse themselves in the intricacies of item synthesis, crafting powerful equipment and uncovering hidden recipes, all while enhancing Ryza's skill as an alchemist. In Ryza 1, we witnessed Ryza's first steps into the world of alchemy. Her alchemical workshop served as her sanctuary where she could hone her skills. I love the fact that when Ryza starts alchemy, the player starts alchemy. So she's basically as clueless as we are as we learn, but obviously as the game goes on, you get better and better, and so does Ryza. The Ryza Trilogy uses a material loop, which might seem daunting at first. Believe me, when I first saw it, I was like, what the heck is going on? What? But once you get it, it's easy to grasp as you learn through the many helpful tutorials the game has. Now, I don't like tutorials, and that extends to Atelier games too. So my method of experimenting is trial and error. I pretty much just saw what worked, what trades, how they cross over by myself, because even in the tutorial, it's kind of complicated. It's something you want to do rather than read. Like, it's hard for me to even explain it in this video because it's gonna sound confusing, but once you do it, it's really easy. To get started with synthesizing, you must gather the right material, and it's basically harvesting materials that you see in your adventures in the overworld. Like if you see a tree, you bonk it with your wand and it drops material. You could grab some on the floor, you could capture bugs, fish for fish, defeat enemies that drop materials. So there's a lot of ways to gather your materials. Once you have the necessary materials, choose the recipe you want to make. Some recipes are taught by Emple, especially in the first game, like green beans, or you could find recipes through creating an item, and in that item has a specific recipe material that you have to unlock in the loop, and once you discover that recipe once, it's in your recipe book forever. As you add material, new loops open up to add traits or improve the quality of the item. Materials can have different qualities such as elemental affinity, which can affect the final product. Players can choose to use higher quality materials to enhance the synthesizing item's attributes, or experiment with different combinations to discover new effects. By strategically using skills and selecting good traits, players can customize their creation to suit their playstyle or specific needs. So that's how it mostly was in Atelier 1. Very basic, very clean, nothing too chaotic. This is until we get Ryza 2, where everything you know gets changed. Forget about finding recipes, because now we can have a skill tree. You unlock new recipes by using SP that is gained from synthesizing or clearing side quests. This also includes essence systems. Essence are special items used during synthesis to create the element or boost the effect of that material loop, adding to an already robust synthesis system, but overall much of the material loop system remains the same. In Ryza 3, however, it is possibly the best alchemy system we have ever gotten to this date. They take all of the elements that worked and made it even better. Since it's the last game in the trilogy, it wouldn't be wise to just make a whole new alchemy system, so they enhanced it in a way where it's not new, but there's new things for you to enjoy as well. They added a new addition with the secret key mechanic, which can be used for a multitude of things, such as changing the quality, or even better, adding an element to it. It's like unlocking the true potential of an item. And they also added super traits. Super traits are really powerful traits, and they're best used in weapons, armor, things like that. While alchemy in the Atelier Ryza Trilogy is seen as a good thing through Ryza and helping her friends, but as I addressed before in the synopsis of the story, alchemy is also seen as a bad thing, because with the Clint Kingdom and the Code of the Universe people, they wanted to use alchemy for power, and their thirst for knowledge basically became their undoing. So like the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. As a gameplay mechanic, I love the alchemy system. There's no other RPG that rivals it, and it's my favorite part of the Atelier series. In this chapter, we're going to talk about the gameplay of the Atelier Ryza Trilogy. Ryza and her allies faced adversity and honed their skills in thrilling battles in Atelier Ryza. The combat system is dynamic and challenges players to strategically utilize their party's abilities. Character progression allows them to master powerful techniques and evolve. The mechanics of battle are the same throughout the trilogy, but each game has its own mechanic. Ryza's combat system is more dynamic than the turn-based combat. It uses an ATB system to keep the combat flowing without any hitches. In Ryza 2 and 3, you can use shift skills to change party members on the fly without breaking your chain in the process. Ryza 3 introduced a key mechanic which can help with the alchemy and change the flow of battle. It can add modifiers to battles, making it easier for players to handle. In addition to traditional MP, the Ryza series introduces action points, AP, a limited resource that requires strategic decision making. AP is used to execute powerful skills and abilities during battles. Players must manage their AP wisely. Each character also has a core crystal, which is basically where you can put your items. When you activate the core crystal, time stops, and it uses CC to help distribute healing items, buffs, debuffs, things like that. And in Atelier Ryza 3, it is super important because that is where you could create keys. Overall, I really enjoyed the gameplay in all three Ryza games, though there is a little bit of things I didn't like about it. For instance, defending. In the first game, you don't even have a button to defend with, but in the second game you do, but it's kind of pointless because you have to be really precise about it, and when you're moving around different party members, it's hard to really navigate the defense button, so sometimes it's just better to get hit. I don't know why they included a defense when it rarely does work. And another criticism is the length of the battles. Sometimes these battles go on for a while, especially for the more meaty monsters. It gets pretty cumbersome, especially while grinding. But something I really appreciate about this game is XP gets shared between everybody, even if they're not in your party, which is very, very good because there's a lot of party members, and in each battle there's essentially 3 slots and 2 backups. So having all the party members get XP is really, really nice. Also in the Atelier series, to get your party members more powerful, not only do you have to grind the normal way, but you have to do certain party quests so they can unlock a different attack and unlock new abilities. And in most of the games, while you're in battle, you have a prompt from another party member to use a magic attack or physical attack, and when you fulfill that prompt, then they do a second attack, kind of like a chain attack. But be warned, you will hear, Ryza, do this, Ryza, right. You'll heal the prompt a lot. And not only that, a lot of your skills as an alchemist do come into play when you need to synthesize items like health potions and green beans, and you also need to prepare your party members with weapons, armor, and accessories as well. So a lot of the skills from the alchemy do come into play with the gameplay. So yeah, that is all with the gameplay. I honestly really like it. The Ryza Trilogy really showed how Atelier gameplay can be fun and engaging, plus using your alchemy skills to use. In the Ryza Trilogy, as the series evolves, so do the bonds between Ryza and her companions. Throughout trials and tribulations, we witness the growth of their friendships, their unwavering support, and the emotional connections that formed a solid foundation for all the great adventures that they go through. Now, in the story section of the video, I hinted a lot about their bonds and friendships, and in this chapter, I want to explore that a little bit more. The Atelier Ryza really focuses on the summer adventures with their friends. We witness Ryza's transformation from an aspiring alchemist to a confident young woman, and the evolution of the other characters as they face their fears, pursue their passions, and forge their destinies. And even though Ryza gets called immature by a lot of people, she shows a great sense of emotional maturity when it comes to connecting with people and communicating. It just goes to show you that some maturity is not just paying bills or taxes. Good example is Lent and his dad's dynamic. His dad is awful. He is really awful. And in Atelier Ryza 3, even through all those terrible things they said about each other, they're able to find some common ground and forgive each other. With the help of Ryza, of course. So now I thought I would take the time to point out some of my favorite character developments throughout the whole series. Starting with Ryza's best friend Claudia, who kind of doesn't know what it means to be friends because she and her father constantly travel for their traveling business. It's understandable that Claudia is reserved when it comes to sharing her feelings with others, and contrast that with Ryza, who's lived in the same island for all her life and she knows everybody. To Claudia, that feeling is very foreign. This is explored in the first game, where we learn that she has a talent for playing the flute, but does not feel comfortable playing it around her father. The reason for this is complicated, but it involves her sick mother, who taught Claudia how to play. Whenever Claudia played in front of her father, it would make him sad because it reminded him of his wife. But as the story progresses, she gains the confidence to not only play in front of her friends, but to play in front of her father. Throughout the series, Claudia transforms from a shy girl to a confident woman capable of running her father's business even better than he did. And I just love how her and Ryza mesh together. They're kind of opposites attract, but in a good way, where one lacks, the other one has. There's times where Ryza, helps Claudia, but there's times when Claudia has to step up and help Ryza when she's feeling down. And I just love the dynamic. Another character I like to highlight is one that I mentioned before, is Boss. In the first game, he was shown to be the bully around the place, especially towards Ryza, Lent, and Tao. It all stems from a misunderstanding. So basically, Ryza fell into a river. Boss ran to find help, while Tao and Lent were trying to pull her out of the water. So when Boss ran away to look for help, the crew took it as him running away from the situation. Needless to say, they make amends, and even though it's kind of awkward at first, especially, not making fun of each other and stuff like that, I found that really cute. They do become friends like they were when they were children. So it was nice to see that dynamic come full circle. If you guys haven't noticed, the Atelier Ryza series has undoubtedly made a significant impact in my life. Since its release, Atelier Ryza has garnered an incredible dedicated fanbase who have passionately expressed their love and appreciation for the series throughout various creative outlets such as fan art, cosplay, and like what I'm doing now, videos. All meshed together with the beautiful art and character designs and the really underrated music. And I love seeing this game go from niche status to a little bit out of the niche status with the release of Atelier Ryza, which broke the charts for the Atelier series, and I am glad that the Atelier series as a whole is getting the spotlight, and I can't wait to see the future of the series. Though, hopefully with English dub, that's my only nitpick. And another lesson we could all learn is there is power in those thighs. I guess we are ending like that. I mean, it ain't far from the truth. As we conclude this retrospective, I hope that I expressed my love and appreciation for this game. And I want to do more videos like this for other Atelier trilogies, like the Dust Trilogy, the Arlen Trilogy, etc, etc. Now, it won't be right away. These things take time, especially for me. This video is the first retrospective style video I've ever done. It's probably going to be the longest video I've ever completed as well. But yeah, this is not going to be a normal thing though. This all just to say, I hope you guys enjoyed. Now, I did have one of my mods and friends, Jugs McGee, so big applause to that, for helping me organize my script, because at first it was just a bunch of words without any cohesion, so I needed a little bit of help with the formatting. So thank you, Jugs, I appreciate it. If you're interested in getting into the Atelier series, I do have a video called Intro to Atelier where it goes over the different series and trilogies and how they're organized, so check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I'll do my usual outro, so take it away. So ultimately, that is it for the Ryza Trilogy. Now, this is not it for the Atelier series. There's still more games to go. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for enjoying it. I don't plan on doing these types of videos for every game I play. They do take a lot of time, energy, resources. I'm probably just gonna do retrospective videos for games that I personally really feel passionate about. I do plan on doing more reviews, like normal style reviews as well. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you like my channel, hit the subscribe. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave them to me in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. You can follow me on my socials in the description down below. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day, and as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.